Children, today we are going to study about ionic equilibrium. Now, first we should know what are strong and weak electrolytes. See, an electrolyte is a compound whose aqueous solution or melt conducts electricity. A compound whose aqueous solution or melt does not conduct electricity, it is called as non-electrolyte. Electrolytes which are dissociated to a large extent or almost completely into ions and behave as very good conductors of electricity, they are called as strong electrolytes like NaOH, KOH, HCl, NH4Cl, HNO3, etc. Those electrolytes which dissociate to a very small extent in solution and they act as poor conductor of electricity, they are called as weak electrolytes like acetic acid, NH4OH, NH4 whole twice CO3, etc. Solution of these electrolytes contains ions which are in equilibrium with unionized molecules like CH3COOH. It can be dissociated into CH3COO minus and H plus. So this type of equilibrium is called as ionic equilibrium. Next is degree of dissociation or ionization. This is given by symbol alpha. Now the fraction of total number of molecules of an electrolyte which dissociate or ionize into ions is called degree or dissociation or degree of ionization, and it is given by the formula alpha is equal to number of molecules of the electrolyte dissociated into ions divided by total number of molecules of the electrolytes taken. Okay, now there is a difference between dissociation and ionization. When an ionic compound breaks into ions in solution, it is called dissociation. Whereas when a polar covalent compound like HCl splits into ion in solution, then it is called as ionization. Now next is ionization of weak electrolytes. This is also called as Ostwald's dilution law. Now suppose the application of law of mass action to weak electrolyte is called as Ostwald's dilution law. Alright, when law of mass action is applied to weak electrolyte, then this is called as Ostwald's dilution law. Now suppose there is a weak electrolyte AB and this AB ionizes into A plus and B minus. Initial concentration of AB, if it was C, then initially when the reaction starts, A plus is 0, B minus is 0. Now concentration at equilibrium will be C into 1 minus alpha for AB. A plus will be C alpha and B minus will be C alpha. Alright. Hence, according to law of mass action, K will become equal to concentration of A plus into concentration of B minus. It should be B minus. Concentration of B minus divided by concentration of AB. That is C alpha minus into C alpha divided by C into 1 minus alpha. Alright. So this becomes C alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. 1 C will get cancelled. So C alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. Now for a weak electrolyte, degree of ionization alpha is very small as compared to 1. So 1 minus alpha can be taken as approximately equal to 1. So in that case we have K is equal to C alpha square, because 1 minus alpha we can take it as 1. Or alpha square is equal to K upon C, or alpha can be written as under root K upon C. So this relationship implies that degree of dissociation of weak electrolyte is inversely proportional to the square root of its concentration. Now, as concentration is equal to concentration C can be written as C is equal to 1 upon V moles per volume. Then alpha will become equal to under root K into V. Okay. Now this relationship shows that a degree of dissociation of weak electrolyte is directly proportional to the square root of dilution volume V. Square root of V. Alright. Now this in this case 1 minus alpha is equal to 1 can be taken only if alpha is less than 5%. In other cases, alpha should be calculated by applying the solution of a quadratic equation. Now this law, Ostwald dilution law, is applicable only for weak electrolytes, because for strong electrolytes alpha becomes equal to 1. Alright. So this is only for weak electrolytes. Now next we come to concept of acids and bases. Now in this case, in this concept of acids and bases, first we come to Arrhenius concept. Now Arrhenius concept, according to Arrhenius, an acid is, according to Arrhenius, an acid. What is an acid? It is a substance which dissociates. Acid is a substance which dissociates. Just let me come to this. Yes, this is Arrhenius concept. An acid is a substance which dissociates into H plus ions in aqueous solution, while a base is a substance which dissociates to give OH minus ions in aqueous solution, like HCl. HCl in aqueous solution will give you H plus and Cl minus. HNO3 will give you H plus and NO3 minus. CH3COOH will give you H plus and CH3COO minus. So all these are acids. Similarly, NaOH gives you Na plus OH minus. NH4OH gives you NH4 plus OH minus. So since they are giving OH minus in solution, so these are bases. Okay. Now the limitation of this concept. This concept is valid in aqueous solution. Alright. This concept, it is valid in aqueous solution. Acid-base reaction occurring in non-aqueous solution cannot be explained by this concept. It cannot explain the acidic behavior of AlCl3, NH4Cl, CO2, SO2, etc. and basic characters of substances like NH3, CaO, etc. Okay, so this is the Arrhenius concept, which says that according to this concept, if any substance is giving H plus ions in solution, it is aqueous solution, it is an acid, and if it is giving OH minus ion in aqueous solution, it is a base. Next concept is Bronsted-Lowry concept. Now, Bronsted-Lowry concept is also called as protonic concept. According to this concept, acids are proton donors, while bases are proton acceptors. That is, the molecules, cations or anions, which have tendency to donate H plus ions to any other substance, they are called as acids. Like HCl is giving H plus plus Cl minus. AlH2O whole 6 3 plus is giving you H plus plus AlH2O whole 5 OH 2 plus. HCO3 is giving you H plus plus CO3 2 minus. So these, because they are giving H plus, they are donate. H plus is a proton, they are donating a proton, so they are all acids. Bases are those molecules, cations or anions, which have tendency to accept the H plus. So like NH3 it can take H plus to give you NH4 plus. So this is a base. AlH2O whole 5 OH 2 plus, it is taking H plus to become AlH2O whole 6 3 plus, so it is a base. PO4 3 minus is accepting an H plus to become HPO4 2 minus, so it is a base. Alright, so this is the Bronsted-Lowry concept, which says if any substance, that is if any substance, cation or anion, if it can accept a proton, it is a base. If it can donate a proton, it is a acid. Next we come to conjugate pair of acids and bases. Just a minute. Conjugate pair of acid and base. Now, what is the meaning of conjugate? Let me put some space here. 1 minute. Yes. Conjugate pair of acid and base. A conjugate pair is defined as chemical species which differs from others only to the extent of transferred proton. That is, conjugate acid is equal to conjugate base plus H plus. Means there is only the difference between of H plus between the two. Like they have given you a few examples over here. Suppose you see HCl plus H2O. It is giving you H3O plus Cl minus. Now HCl is an acid whose conjugate base is Cl minus, because what is the difference between the two? Only of H. Similarly, H2O is a base whose conjugate acid is H3O plus. Alright. So between the two, H2O and H3O plus, there is only difference of H plus. Similarly, HNO3 plus H2O gives you H3O plus NO3 minus. So HNO3 is the acid, its conjugate base is NO3 minus. H2O is base, conjugate acid is H3O plus. Same way, NH4 plus H2O gives you NH3 plus H3O plus. So NH4 plus is the acid and NH3 is the base, H2O is the base and H3O plus is acid. Another example, NH3 plus H2O gives you NH4 plus OH minus. So NH3 is the base, NH4 plus is the acid. Alright. H2O is the acid in this case and its base is OH plus. Alright. Now this is written wrongly over here. NH3 is the base and its acid is this. So NH4 plus is acid 1 and H2O is the acid 2 and OH plus is OH minus, it should be, is the base 2. Alright, the last one, there is a mistake in writing it. Between H2O and OH minus, there is only the difference of H. Conjugate of a strong acid is always weak base and conjugate of a weak acid is a strong base. Now there are some limitations to this concept also. It fails to explain the reaction between acidic oxides such as CO2, SO2 and basic oxides such as CaO, BaO, etc. It fails to explain the acidic character of AlCl3, FeCl3, etc. Right? Next is Lewis concept or electronic concept. Now, according to Lewis, an acid is a substance which can accept a pair of electrons to form coordinate bond, and a base is a substance which can donate an electron pair to form coordinate bond. Neutral electron deficient molecules like BF3, AlCl3, they can act as Lewis acids. Simple cations such as Fe3+, Ag+, they behave as Lewis acids, while all are negative cations like fluorine, F-, Cl-, OH-, Cn-, etc., all the negative negative ions, that is anions, they behave as Lewis bases. Okay. Molecules like O double bond C double bond O, that is CO2, in which atom of dissimilar electronegativities are joined by multiple bonds. Okay, and molecules like SnCl4, SiF4, in which central atom has available empty d orbital and may acquire more than 8 valence electrons. They all act as Lewis acids. Now see BF3. BF3, it is short of 2 electrons, so it acts as Lewis acid. NH3, it has 2 additional electrons, lone pair. It has a lone pair electron which it can give for formation of coordinate bond. So it acts as Lewis base. Alright, so they will form a complex like this in which BF3 will accept the electrons, lone pair, 2 pair of 2 electrons, and NH3 will give 2 electrons to form a coordinate bond. Okay, similarly 2NH3 plus Ag plus will give you AgNH3 whole twice plus. 2F minus plus SiF4 will give you SiF6 2 minus. Now the limitation of this electronic concept is that there is no uniform scale of acid base strength. Common acids and bases do not form coordinate bonds, whereas coordinate bond formation is an essential feature, and it also fails to explain the catalytic activity of protic acid and amphoteric nature of H2O and ALOH whole thrice. So these are the shortcomings of this Lewis concept or electronic concept. Next we come to relative strength of acids and bases. Now relative strength of two weak acids at same concentration is given by the ratio of the square root of their dissociation constant. Suppose there are two acids 1 and 2, so alpha 1 upon alpha 2 is equal to square root of K alpha 1 Ka1 and square root of K alpha 2. Now where alpha 1 and alpha 2 are degree of dissociation of two acids and K alpha 1 and K alpha 2 are dissociation constant of two weak acids. Similarly, relative strength of bases is given by alpha 1 upon alpha 2 is equal to square root of Kb1 upon Kb2, where alpha 1 and alpha 2 they are degree of association of two bases and Kb1 and Kb2 are dissociation constants of two bases. Next we come to ionic product of water. Now water is a weak electrolyte and does not ionize much in pure state. It undergoes self-ionization as follows: H2O plus H2O, it gives you H3O plus OH minus. Now according to, see here, H3O plus OH minus. According to law of mass action, K is equal to H3O plus into OH minus divided by concentration of H2O whole square. So K into H2O whole square is equal to H3O plus into OH minus. Alright. Now since water undergoes ionization to a very small extent, concentration of water may be regarded as constant. So K into H2O whole square is constant, represented by Kw. So Kw can be written as H3 concentration of H3O plus into concentration of OH minus. Alright. The constant Kw is known as ionic product of water, and its value is equal to 1.008 into 10 to power minus 14 mole square per liter square at 298 Kelvin. Now as the concentration of H3O plus and OH minus are equal, so H3O plus concentration is equal to OH minus concentration, which is equal to square root of 1.008 into 10 to power minus 14, which comes to 1 into 10 to power minus 7 mole per liter. Alright. So Kw value is 1.008 into 10 to power minus 14, and you have taken the square root of it. So that comes to 1 into 10 to power minus 7 moles per liter. Ionization of pure water increases with an increase in temperature. Therefore, value of Kw increases with increase in temperature. However, it does not affect the concentration of H3O plus and OH minus ion, relative concentration of H3O plus and OH minus ions. Next we come to pH value. Now pH is defined as the negative logarithm of the concentration of H plus expressed in moles per liter, and pH is given as minus log to the base 10 concentration of H plus, that is equal to log to the base 10 1 upon concentration of H plus. See here. So for a neutral solution, pH is 7. In acidic, for acidic solution, concentration of H plus is greater than 10 to power minus 7, so pH should be less than 7. For basic solution, concentration of H plus ions is less than 10 to power minus 7, so pH should be greater than 7. It's inversely. See, for neutral solution, pH is 7. For acidic solution, H plus concentration is greater than 10 to power minus 7, so pH is less than 7. For basic solution, H plus concentration is less than 10 to power minus 7, so pH is greater than 7. pH scale value lies between 0 and 14. Okay, and at 25 degrees Celsius, pH plus pOH is equal to 14. With increase in temperature, as the dissociation of H2O molecule increases, that is H plus and OH minus concentration increases, so that ionic product increases with increase of temperature. Further, as H plus increases, pH will decrease, okay, with increase of temperature. At 273 Kelvin, Kw is equal to 10 to power minus 15. So the pH of neutral solution at this temperature is 7.5 and pH scale is 0 to 15. At 333 Kelvin, that is 60 degrees Celsius, Kw is equal to 9.6 into 10 to power minus 14. pH of neutral solution is 6.5 and pH range is 0 to 13. And at temperature of human body, that is 37 degrees Celsius, pH of neutral solution is 6.8. Alright. So remember this, that pH at different temperatures, the pH value is changing. Now next we come to total H3O plus or OH minus in the mixture of strong acids or bases. Now H3O plus concentration is equal to summation NV upon summation V into concentration of OH minus. So that comes to summation NV upon summation V, and pH can be calculated accordingly. Now the resultant solution of a mixture of strong acid having normality N1 and volume V1 and strong base having normality N2 and volume V2. If it is neutral, then the formula will be N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. For basic, if N1 V1 is less than N2 V2, that means if N2 V2 is greater than N1 V1, OH molecule concentration will be equal to N2 V2 minus N1 V1 upon V1 plus V2. And for acidic solution, if N1 V1 is greater than N2 V2, then H3O plus concentration would be N1 V1 minus N2 V2 divided by V1 plus V2. Total H3O plus concentration in mixture of two weak acids is given by the formula H3O plus concentration is equal to square root of Ka1C1 plus Ka2C2, where Ka1 and Ka2 are ionization constants of two weak acids and C1 and C2 are their molar concentrations. Okay. So these formulas you have to remember, and numericals on these formulas can be asked. Now next is total OH ion concentration in mixture of two weak acids. So OH ion concentration is given by square root of Kb1C1 plus Kb2C2. This is in case of mixture of two weak bases. So you have taken Kb1 and Kb2. These are ionization constants of two weak bases respectively, and C1, C2, they are the molar concentrations. Now total H3O plus concentration in a mixture of weak acid and strong acid. H3O plus is C1 plus under root C1 square plus 4 KaC2 divided by 2, where C1 is the concentration in moles per liter of strong acid, while C2 is that of weak acid, and Ka is the ionization constant of weak acid. Alright. Now next we come to pH indicators. Just a minute, let me see, something's gone wrong here. Acid base. Alright. pH indicators. Now when you look at pH indicators, the process of determining the strength of an acid with the help of a standard base, this is called as titration, and the stage at which the added base exactly neutralizes the acid is termed as the end point or the equivalence point. You have done titration in your practical, so you must be aware. End point is determined with the help of an organic compound which is called pH indicator. Organic compound which indicates that the end point of titration by changing its color is called as a pH indicator. Like you did your titration, so in that phenolphthalein, the pink color appeared. So the color from colorless solution, the minute it became pink in color, that was the end point. That was the point for you to stop further titration. So that is an indicator. So normally the indicators which we use are methyl orange, that is when the pH is in the range of 3.2 to 4.5. Color changes from red to yellow. Methyl orange for pH range 4.4 to 6.5. Color changes again red to yellow. Litmus pH range 5.5 to 7.5. Color changes red to blue. Phenolphthalein 8.3 to 10.5. Color changes from colorless to pink. And thymol blue 9.3 to 10.5. Color changes colorless to blue. So there are a few theories of the indicators. Alright, these are called as theories of indicators. In this, the first theory is Ostwald ionic theory of acid-base indicators. Ostwald's theory says An acid-base indicator is either a weak organic acid or a weak organic base and ionizes freely in the solution. Color of undissociated molecule is different from that of the ions furnished by it in the solution. Thus, change in color is due to ionization. For example, action of phenolphthalein. Now, it is a weak organic acid and it ionizes like this, HPH, it gives you H plus pH minus. Now, phenolphthalein, it is colorless, but when it ionizes, H plus ion is colorless and pH minus ion is pink in color. So, the undissociated phenolphthalein, which was colorless, and pH minus ions, they are pink in color. In acidic solution, it is colorless due to shifting of the equilibrium towards left because of common ion effect, and it is reverse in basic solution as equilibrium shifts towards the right side and it shows pink color. Similarly, action of methyl orange. Methyl orange is represented as MEOH. Now, methyl orange is a weak organic base and undissociated molecules of methyl orange, they are yellow in color. But Me2 plus, Me plus in which it ion into which it dissociates, that is red in color. OH minus ion is colorless. So from yellow color, the color changes to red. So in acidic solution, equilibrium shifts towards right as H plus ions furnished by acid combine with OH minus ions to form H2O molecule, and concentration of Me plus ion increases and the solution has red color. In basic medium, equilibrium shifts towards left due to common ion effects and the yellow color of MEOH solutions are formed. So this is how the Ostwald ionic theory of acid-base indicator works. Next is, just a minute. Quinonoid theory. Now in quinonoid theory of pH indicator, just a minute, yeah, it is here. Yeah. According to this theory, indicators are aromatic compounds which can exist into two forms, benzoid form and quinonoid form. The two forms, they have different colors at different pH value. Benzoid form is colorless or light colored, whereas quinonoid form has deep color. When the pH of solution changes, one form changes into other and the color of the solution will change. This is benzoid form, which is colorless, and if it becomes more basic, then it changes here into, when OH minus become more, it changes into quinonoid form, which is pink. Alright, and when it becomes acidic, quinonoid form gets converted into benzoid form, which is again colorless. Now, action of phenolphthalein. The benzoid form of phenolphthalein is colorless in acidic solution, whereas quinonoid form is of pink color in basic solution. So, both forms are interconvertible. Similarly, methyl orange. Its benzoid form is yellow in color in alkaline solution, while quinonoid form is red in color in acidic solution, and it keeps interchanging. These two forms, they can convert into each other just by increasing the H plus ions or OH minus ions. So this is how the quinonoid theory works. The remaining we will do in our next video. Children, today we are going to study about